Hello everyone, welcome to the Art Gallery Workshop. I am your host, Christopher Epling. I'm glad you're tuning in today. We're going to be picking up from last time where we did an overview of my work, talking about how working as an illustrator can be something that you may be interested in and you can do. I live here in Pike County, work from Pike County, service for publishing imprints all the way down to Florida and up the East Coast and local publishing imprints as well. So working as an illustrator, there's a lot of jobs. So check out that last episode if you get a chance. I'd like to encourage everybody to go to theholler.org, submit your drawings. We looked at a very cool submission from Chrissy Waters last time. She's a student at Belfry High School. If you have submissions, be sure to send those in to me. Last time we didn't do any drawing, but we looked at a ton of drawing. But today we're going to. Sticking with the theme of being tied into doing caricatures and different types of cartooning styles. We're going to be doing a little bit of stuff from Hillbillies and Hillbilly Days. I did the t-shirt design for that in the Hatfield McCoy days. I shared that with you last time, as well as the White Lightning zipline map, which is also has a little bit of a funny, hillbilly type theme to it. So we're going to be drawing some hillbilly characters today. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First, we're going to be doing working with the digital medium here. This is a Wacom tablet. It's really fun to use. So first thing I want you to think about whenever you're putting together your drawing is consider, again, the Marvel method. So I'm going to take out, and I'm starting out with blue. Now this blue is to represent only pencil. This is a pencil line, so you have to use your imagination with me a little bit. Now what I have here is an oval. You can see that's an oval. You can zoom in a little bit. Now the oval, as we see it, that's a basic shape. We're going to start out using this Marvel method, draw a line straight down the middle. Now something interesting about drawing human shapes is this. The eyes, from the pupil to pupil on every single person, so the distance between here and here, between that pupil and that pupil, should technically be the same distance between the top of the brow here and the tip of the nose. This is true for every human being. It's basic anatomy. Some people's pupils may be farther apart than others, but so the distance between this pupil here and this pupil here should be the same distance between here and down at the tip of the nose. Okay, so the nose would be about right here. That's just an interesting, fun little fact. So when we're laying out the design for a face or head or something like that, I used these little lines to help guide me. Now they serve just to guide me. If you've watched any of these workshops, you recall the Marvel method, you know what I'm talking about. Shapes such as circles, ovals, when you put all these together, it starts to build a framework, and you can see how this kind of looks like the head and shoulders of a figure. Now when we're doing the hillbilly figure, the cartoon for this, what we're going to be doing, we're going to use a basic shape to him, but we're going to overextend certain features, such as the ears. We're also going to be giving a slightly big nose, sort of like this. Okay, we're going to put him in a hat. If you've been to Hillbilly Days ever, you know the icon that is used to represent Hillbilly Days. There's a old style hat that the hillbillies usually wear. We're going to put that going around his head, sort of like this right here. Okay, and then down like this. He's going to have a beard, so we're going to put that on him. This will be included towards the end. The beard will be coming down like this over top of his neckline, going down into his shoulders. Okay, you got the eyebrows, of course. Now I'm drawing this all in pencil still, and this is just to kind of give you an idea again how we're going to be laying this character out, how we're going to be designing this character. We may give him some overalls. Once you have those basic shapes, those ovals, circles, and various other things, you can really start putting on the detail as we're doing here. Now once we have this basic shape, like for instance for his arms, we could do an oval here and then another oval. Same thing on this side, circles for the elbows. And then once you have this, you see you draw over top of it. That's just to help to guide you, like we've talked about all along. The Marvel method is a great way to lay out the structure of a drawing. Now here I have what would be a lot of pencil lines if we were doing this on paper. So what I would do before I ever start drawing anything or putting ink, before I started inking anything, I'd want to go back now and I'd want to make sure all these details are included in my drawing, such as the hair coming out of the hat here, okay, maybe the eyes here, the nose. All these details I want to make sure are included before I ever start inking the drawing. So what I'm going to do now is just grab some black. You can see this is a darker color here that we're going to use for black. I'm going to go back over the drawing now and I'm going to ink the drawing. So we're going to zoom in a little bit to give you can see this sort of well. Now this changes the size of my pen here. If you're using a regular pen, you know how some pens are very thick tipped and some are very fine point tipped. It's a good thing to have a variation of those things available to you when you're drawing, because smaller tips help to go in with fine detail, broader tips do the opposite. So we're going to go in now and pretend this is an ink pen. I'm going to be tracing over my lines, or most of my lines anyway. I may choose to leave some in, take some out, who knows. It depends a great deal on how it looks when or what you're shooting for, okay? Alright, so now we're just going to follow our pencil lines the best we can. We're going to add some of these little lines in here to show the hair of the beard. Coming up on this side now into the cap area. The ear is going to stick out, right, and down on both sides, sort of like this. Okay, we got the beard coming down now, like we said, around his neck and his chin. All the way down, he's got a big beard. And for the mustache, and we're going to put the bottom part of the lip on here. And then we can move up a little bit and work on the top of this cap too. So for the cap part, we want to include this hair coming out the top, sticking out sort of a little wildly. Now this looks sort of like a humble little hillbilly guy here. We're not doing anything too crazy just yet. Here in a second we'll draw something a little more exaggerated, and we'll see what that looks like, okay? That's all we really need for the cap. Now a little bit later, if you wanted to take this, you can add detail to it. You can put these little cross hatches in here to show shadow. Of course that cross hatch will get smaller and smaller as this comes up towards the top, right? So this is darker because this has less sunlight hitting it, or light source, whatever the light source might be. So we'll draw this in and maybe cross hatch it some here and something like that. So you can get really detailed with this, but for the purpose of our project here, we're just going to keep trucking along. So we'll work on the body and ink it out really fast. The overalls will come up, go over top of his back, come down on his chest on both sides, sort of like that. Okay, and then once we have this, we'll go ahead and work on the shoulder. Now the shirt will actually lay on top of our design. It's not going to stick straight to the skin like a superhero outfit, so be sure to draw those curves in there. Okay, those curves are important to show fabric and creases and all that stuff. Again, we got some shadow maybe coming into play right here. Okay, we got the buckles for his overalls. You could draw a little line coming down on each side, connecting in there if you wanted. Get as detailed as you want. It's your drawing. Now, if you're drawing along with me and you want to submit and show me what you came up with, please do. Go to theholler.org, log in, go to the Art Gallery Workshop. You want to click on that, and when you click on that, you can go directly into the Art Gallery site where everyone shares their work, communicates, asks questions, what they like, don't like. Maybe there's something you'd like to see done more. Maybe you'd like to see some nature stuff. We could do different types of birds. We could do landscape drawings. We could. There's anything under the sun that we can work on together. We could do faith-based theme stuff. We could do anything. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see more of, log on, let me know. We'll work on that specific thing and share with everybody. Okay? So now, while I've been talking, I've also added these little texture type things to his shirt, as you can see here. So, and like I said, you can go back later and put this detail in if you want. Now we should have something that looks, see, there's our little hillbilly guy. He looks kind of humble. He's He's not wanting to cause anybody no trouble. He's just hanging out, getting his picture taken. One thing about this light source to remember if you're drawing, just like, okay, for instance, imagine this. I want to share this with you because this is important. All young artists have a little bit of trouble with this, but we'll go over it real fast. Let's see if I grab the right tool here. There we go. So let's imagine this is a lamp. Just imagine this with me here. We got a little lamp like a desk lamp. There's a little knob, turn them on. Here's a little thing going down. You got the base coming up here. So there's our base. Okay, there's a base. Now if I were to go over here and flip on this light right here, okay, turn it on, what's going to happen is the light's going to come on and the light's going to come out in this direction, right? So all of this back here is going to remain in the dark or fairly in the dark. The back side of the lamp will maybe back here around the base will be dark. Okay, let's say it's sitting on a table. Here's our table. Now let's say we have a ball here. Let's say we have a tennis ball or a baseball or an orange or anything you want to call it. The light's coming down on this orange right here. So the shadow then, if the light's coming in this direction like this, okay, it's hitting this object. The shadow then is going to be behind it. It's going to be back here. See that? So keep this stuff in mind when you're drawing, even when it's simple cartoons and stuff, because when you add these effects, it makes your drawing look a lot better, more realistic, and it shows growth as an artist as well. Okay? Here in a little bit, when we go to the paper format, I'm going to draw on paper for you. I'm going to show you a couple of my supplies today, and I'm going to show you how to do this in a fairly inexpensive way, without having to buy those really expensive markers like the Copic and the Prismacolor markers. Found a way you can get around that today, and I'll share that with you. So let's go ahead now. Let's move on to actually doing our subject for today. And our subject for today is going to be this little guy here. I'll pull him down so you can see it on the screen. Got the little guy playing the banjo. Okay, see him? He's another little happy hillbilly guy here. He's going to be smoking his little pipe, and he's got his bottle of orange juice right beside him and his banjo. So we're going to be doing this character today. So in order to do that, I want you to remember blue is pencil on here. We're going to start out drawing the Marvel method, circles, shapes. So the way I like to do it is I want you to look at this on your screen for a second. Look at that on your television screen. Now I want you to squint your eyes a little bit. And when you squint your eyes, I want you to see the basic shapes. Don't pay attention to detail. Don't look at his hair, his nose, his eyes, his hat, his corncob pipe. Just look at the shapes, okay? What kind of basic shape do you see? That's what the Marvel method's comprised of. So when I look at this, I don't have to squint my eyes anymore because I can kind of tell. The first thing I see is, okay, there's this circle shape here, making up what the head will be. All right, circle shape. I can't see his neck, but I can imagine he's got one, about right here, something like that. He's got shoulders, so I draw this oval. Notice how the shoulders are positioned, always referring back to whatever it is you're drawing. He's got an arm coming down this way, draw an oval coming down. It's resting on what? His rocking chair, right? So there's that arm. He's got a hand here, draw a circle. His belly's coming down. He's got another oval shape kind of making up this whole area right here. So you could imagine that inside there. Now if you're drawing this at home, and you're drawing along with me, or maybe you're going to do it later, don't press down real hard. Because all these things we're doing, you're going to have to go back and erase later. He's got more of like almost like a square shape here for his waist. He's sitting down. He's got another arm that you can barely see. See right here in this area? You can barely see how this arm is behind his body. This arm you can see complete here. But this arm, you can barely see that. So when we go to, oh boy, that's a wrong move. So when we go to draw this, we want to keep in mind that this arm can barely be seen. So draw just a portion of that oval. Okay, it's resting on the rocking chair. Notice how here's his elbow and over here's another elbow. This makes almost a straight line. Okay, so I want to keep this a straight line here by here and here. So his elbow's going to be about right here. It's going to come up. He's holding his pipe in his hand. He's got the circle here. His pipe, of course, will go here later. There we go. So now we'll work on his legs. He's got this shape coming out like this, makes an oval here. So let's add that on there. There's that oval. He's got another shape here, making another oval on that back side. Draw that one in too. He's got the shape here, making up the oval for the legs on both sides. So I'm going to put that in. 1, 2. His feet kind of look like an egg shape almost, or an oval again. Doesn't matter either one, because you're going to go back and put detail. Now so far this is what we have. If you want to go ahead and put the rocking chair, the basic shape for it in here, you can. I'm going to quickly do it so we can move on. I don't want to put too many lines on this drawing right now though, because we're going to get really cluttered and I don't want you to be overwhelmed or lose pace where we are, okay? You've got this bottle here, and the rocking chair comes up like this. Back here we can also see this side of the rocking chair. Okay, we can see behind the rocking chair a little bit to this other side, just like that. Behind him he has his banjo. He's got a circle, 2 straight lines coming up like this. We can put a square at the top. There we go. We have our basic shape now. What we need, everything we need to start work. So let's go ahead and move in and begin just that, okay? We'll move it over so you can see a little bit. May zoom out just a bit here too. There we go. That's better. Alright, so I'm going to grab my blue again. I'm going to grab my marker and I'm going to start to work on the details. I'm going to draw a line going down the center of where his face is. There's the center of his face. Okay, his eyes are going to be about right here. His nose is going to be about right here. His mouth down below. So whenever you're creating these characters and you're putting them together, be sure and pay attention to where all these things break up. You really need to reference your drawing a lot to make sure that these things connect. His hat comes up, sort of tall, comes back down. It's going to come out on this side, sort of like this, okay? And then it's going to be up here at the top, sort of like that. Now I'm still using a pencil. So if you're following along with me, I'm still using a pencil. I'm going to do his hair first. His hair is going to come down. Now this may not look exactly like what we're drawing over here, but as long as we have the general shapes together, that's all I'm really wanting you to do, and it's all I really expect from myself, okay? So the hair is going to be back here. He's got the beard, comes down, sort of like that. Okay, he's got 2 simple eyes, but first let's work on the head. It comes down this way, his face. He's got some hair sticking out here. He's got 2 really simple eyes, one right here and one right here. And then his nose will come out, back in, sort of like that. His mouth's open, he's smiling, he's happy. That's a good thing. There we go. Alright, and you can keep on going with this, putting all the detail in pencil before you ever start to go back and ink it, okay? It's really important to do that. Helps guide you, makes your drawing look more better, well put together, that kind of thing, okay? So he has these little pocket on his overalls. His hands, the little fingers that fold underneath and come straight up, just like that. I'm going to give him 3 because that's how many I can fit on there. His shirt comes up like this. Over here, the shirt's almost already drawn for you just by using the ovals, so you don't really have to add a whole lot to that. Here though, we do have to add some fingers. Remember to start, let me zoom in so I can show you. If you zoom in on the hands, you can see that we don't want to overcomplicate this, so we just want to make this very simple. Just do the lines in there as needed, something like that right there, and fold it back in, okay? Now this has some detail to it at the bottom for his pants and his shoes and everything, but we have the general shape that we really need to finish out this drawing, okay? So what I'm going to do from here, I'm going to grab my black ink and I'm going to zoom in so you can see. So here we go. There's the character. So let's start working on our outline. Okay, this is the fun part. This is where you get to really see your creation come together here. You want to trace over your lines. Make sure that you follow everything that you've put on there, but also you don't have to follow it to a T. If you want to change some things up, that's perfectly fine. It's up to you on what you want to do with your drawing, okay? Now again, if you do this with me today and you would like to share it with me, go to theholler.org so I can see your work, okay? Send it to me. I'll share it right here on the Art Gallery Workshop. So let's go ahead now. We'll finish his beard. His beard's going to come down. His hat's got these creases in them. Okay, something like that. Now this is going to all color it in, but we're not going to have time to really color in everything today. But you can do this at home if you want, all right? Something like that, okay? So let's keep on going down now. Got his overalls come over. Like this. Stop. Got the buckles. Come down like this across his chest. His arm down here, like I said earlier. Make sure to follow the shapes you created. Again, for his fingers, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate this, okay? His pipe's going to be sticking out like this. He'll be holding on to the other end here. Corn cob. Like that right there, okay? Let's keep on going so we can finish this out. The back of the rocking chair. His shoulder comes down. Rest on the rocking chair here. Just putting in detail, that's all we're doing. Following our lines, keeping with what we've already laid out and done. Okay, that's all there is to it. Of course, my lines aren't very straight on this, but for the purpose of the video, this is a quick drawing and it'll work, okay? See his fingers? I'm just making these curves. That's all it is. Students sometimes have a lot of trouble with hands, and I understand why completely, especially if you're doing something that's realistic. Those of you that like to draw people or portraits of people and things of that nature, it can be really hard. So the crease of his overalls come here. Got another crease comes down. We'll be putting his shoe in a minute. He's got crease here where he's setting on both sides like that. Okay. We're going to work on the feet here. The shoes are like this. They got a crease and then it comes up and down. It'll be like this on both sides. Just like that. Now if you were to use a ruler and really get technical with this and make it look really good, your lines nice and straight, even, all that stuff, that's wonderful. But we're going to put the bottle here. Something like that. I'm going to try to finish this up in the time we have together. And again, those of you who are enjoying this workshop, tune in, send me your work. I also encourage you to keep a sketchbook. I keep a sketchbook everywhere I go. Last episode we talked about different professions and the profession of illustration, working in the field and things of that nature. And if you are interested in working as a illustrator, there are careers out there for you. I really encourage you to look into it. Something that you want to do, you can. You don't have to work for Disney, Marvel, DC Comics, that kind of stuff. You can work. For instance, I live right here in Pike County. I work right here at home. So it's very doable. It's not easy, but the best thing you can do right now to prepare for this is to practice. That's it. Okay? So as we finish up on the banjo, I'd like to remind you of a few things. I'd like to thank Pike TV for making this workshop possible. I'd like to thank theholler.org for producing with Pike TV on making this possible. It's an honor to be able to meet with you each week and draw for you. I understand what a privilege it is, so I take it very serious. And I also don't want to make this, like I say, a whole lot, but I can't tell you how true it is. It's not about me. It's about you. I appreciate Chrissy Walters from Belfry for sending in her work to me. All right, so there's our character. Now, like I said, if we had time, we could go back, we could color in things, make it darker here around his hat, his beard, that kind of stuff. But you could do this at home. You could do it on your version. Let me see how you've done. We didn't have time to add the stripes in his shirt today or other things like that, but using the Marvel method, I think we did a pretty good representation of this little guy on the side. Now we could, if you want to, the details, it's still there, like adding in the creases here on his face coming up, and then you got the lines beside his eyes on both sides and all that stuff, but you can add that in later if you want, okay? Well, I really hope that you've had a good time watching today. This is just a basic cartoon type of techniques for you. Be sure to try to tune in for the next art gallery workshop. We're going to be doing more of the same. We're going to be working on paper. We're also going to be working on a few things here in the shop that are related to our region, Hatfield, McCoy type stuff later on down the road. We're also going to be doing some theme stuff for Hillbilly Days and other types of things like that. So be sure and tune in each week to the Art Gallery Workshop. I'm Christopher Epling, your host, and thank you so much for your time and attention, and keep drawing.